Tonight, you will do something almost no animal on Earth would dare to do. You will lie down in the dark. You will close your eyes. And for the next 8 hours, you will switch off, unconscious, motionless, and for part of the night, completely paralyzed. That last part is not a figure of speech. When you sink into your deepest dreams, into the stage called REM sleep, your brainstem sends a signal that switches your muscles almost entirely off. Your body goes limp on purpose, so you cannot act out the things you dream. It is a safety feature, but it has a price. For long stretches of every single night, you could not run even if something walked straight through your door. A rabbit would never accept that deal. A dolphin never fully sleeps at all, shutting down one half of its brain at a time while the other half stays awake and watching. But you sink into long, deep, helpless oblivion, night after night, and nothing comes for you. It feels ordinary, it feels safe, but the reason you can do this is far stranger than safety, and it begins with a child who was killed almost 3 million years ago. Her skull was found in a limestone quarry in South Africa, near a town called Taung. She belonged to one of your earliest ancestors, a small upright ape called Australopithecus, and she was barely 3 years old when she died. For decades, no one knew what killed her. Then scientists examined the bone around her eye sockets and found something chilling: curved scratches, puncture marks at the base of the eyes. The researcher Berger compared the damage to the kills made by large eagles today, birds that snatch monkeys off branches and punch through their skulls to reach the eyes. The child had not been buried. She had been carried into the air and eaten, and she was not alone. In another South African cave called Swartkrans, scientists found the skull of an early human relative with 2 clean, round holes punched into the back of it. A paleontologist named C.K. Brain took the lower jaw of a leopard and fitted its 2 long canine teeth into the holes. They matched exactly. A leopard had killed this creature and dragged it up into a tree to eat in peace, the way leopards still stash their kills today. So sit with this for a moment. For most of the human story, your family was not the hunter. It was the hunted. Your ancestors lived in the anxious middle of the food chain. Leopards took them. Saber-toothed cats stalked them. Hyenas the size of small bears waited at the edge of the dark. And in that world, sleep was the single most dangerous thing a body could do. To lie down on open ground and lose consciousness was to volunteer to be eaten. So how did you get from there to here, to a creature that sleeps flat on its back, in the dark, paralyzed and dreaming, and wakes up every morning surprised by nothing? The predators never disappeared. Instead, across millions of years, your ancestors built an invisible fortress around sleep itself. It had 5 walls, and tonight, without ever noticing, you are still sleeping safely inside all of them. The first wall was fire. No other animal on the planet controls it. Your ancestors learned to, and the evidence is buried deep. In a cave called Wonderwerk, scientists found microscopic ash and burned bone nearly 1 million years old, deep inside where no lightning could ever reach. Someone carried fire in there on purpose. The biologist Richard Wrangham argues that controlling fire changed the human night more than almost anything else our ancestors ever did. Flame meant heat and light and smoke, and a flickering signal to every set of eyes in the dark. Whatever is in here is not ordinary and not worth it. Most predators carry a deep, instinctive fear of fire. Even animals raised in a laboratory who have never seen a flame will back away at the smell of smoke. And fire let your ancestors do something revolutionary. It let them come down. For millions of years, your earlier relatives had slept up in the trees, the way chimpanzees still build a fresh nest in the branches every night, high where the big cats cannot easily follow. Fire let humans climb down, sleep on the open ground around the flame, and live to see the sun. The campfire became the first bedroom humanity ever had. But fire alone was not enough. A fire burns low. Eyes get heavy. Someone has to mind the flame. And that is the second wall. The second wall was each other. Here is a question almost nobody thinks to ask. In a camp full of sleeping people, if everyone falls asleep at the exact same time, who is watching? A scientist named David Samson, working with Charlie Nunn, went to find the answer in Tanzania, among the Hadza, one of the last hunter-gatherer peoples on Earth. They sleep much the way your ancestors did, in a group, on the ground, under the open sky. Samson's team tracked their sleep, hour by hour, for weeks, testing the sentinel hypothesis, the idea that a sleeping group protects itself by never being fully asleep. What they found was astonishing. Across the entire study, with around 20 or 30 adults in the camp, there were only about 18 minutes, in total, when every single person was asleep at the same moment, 18 minutes. For more than 99% of the night, somebody was awake. And here is the part that makes it beautiful. Nobody was assigned. There was no guard, no schedule. It happened on its own because people are simply different. Some are night owls, some wake before the sun, and older people tend to sleep lightly and rise early. The very grandmothers and grandfathers a young family lives beside. Their mismatched body clocks meant that at any moment, by pure accident of biology, someone's eyes were open. An entire community became a single, living alarm system, and not one of them ever had to volunteer. So you had fire on the outside and a web of light sleepers on the inside. And then came the third wall, and it is the strangest one of all. Your ancestors stopped being prey. They became the most frightening predator the planet had ever produced. You can actually measure this fear, and scientists have. The ecologists Liana Zanette and Justin Sue ran an experiment that is almost unsettling in how simple it is. They hid speakers out in the wild, in places full of dangerous animals, and played different sounds, sometimes lions snarling and roaring, and sometimes the most harmless thing imaginable, human beings just calmly talking. The animals were far more terrified of the human voices. Across the savannas of southern Africa, the great majority of species, including elephants, rhinos, leopards, and even lions themselves, were more likely to flee and to abandon a watering hole entirely when they heard people murmuring than when they heard a pride of lions. The apex predators of the whole ecosystem ran from the sound of human conversation. The animal the rest of nature fears most is not the bear, or the shark, or the lion. It is you. And that fear is so total it reshapes the world. When predators avoid the places humans use, their prey grows bolder and strips back the plants it feeds on. The smaller hunters shift away, and the animals they kept in check begin to multiply. A single human voice on the wind can send a wave of fear rolling outward through an entire food web. You rearrange the living world around you, not by anything you kill, but simply by being the thing the world is afraid you might be. So the dark itself has learned to fear your face. And then there is the fourth wall, the quietest one of all. You do not even register as food. To a predator, you are screaming a chemical signal into the night. A bear's nose is around 7 times sharper than a bloodhound's. A wolf can pull a scent from the air over a mile away. And much of what they read on you is simply wrong. You smell of soap and sunscreen and synthetic fabric and food cooked hours ago, a cocktail of artificial things with no match anywhere in nature. Beneath it, you smell faintly like a primate, but not like the deer or the antelope a predator's brain has spent millions of years learning to chase. A hunting instinct is not a vague hunger. It is a precise template, tuned to a specific shape and a specific smell. You do not fit it. You are an anomaly. And to most predators, an anomaly does not mean dinner. It means danger. Because here is the truth the movies always get wrong. Predators are not reckless killing machines. They are nervous, careful accountants. A lion has no doctor and no second chances. A single bad injury can mean a slow death by starvation weeks later. So a sleeping human is a terrible bet. It is unfamiliar. It might wake and scream. It might be one of 20. For an animal that cannot afford to be wrong even once, you are not an easy meal. You are an unknown. And in the wild, the unknown is the most dangerous thing there is. But here is where the comforting story cracks open. Because predators do sometimes hunt sleeping humans, and the rare times they do reveal the final secret. In 1898, in Kenya, 2 male lions began pulling railway workers out of their tents in the night. Over several months, they killed dozens of people, one by one, until the entire railway project ground to a halt out of sheer terror. For 100 years, those lions were spoken of as monsters. Then a researcher named Bruce Patterson studied their preserved bodies in a museum in Chicago and found the answer in their mouths. One lion had a broken canine and a damaged, abscessed jaw. It was in pain. It could no longer take down a healthy, kicking zebra, so it turned to the slowest, softest prey it could find. And that same broken story sits behind nearly every famous man-eater in history, from injured lions to the Champawat tigress, whose shattered teeth left her unable to hunt anything but people. Healthy predators leave you alone. It is the injured, the starving, and the desperate that come. The truce between you and the dark is real, but it was never a promise. And some ancient part of your brain has never once believed it. That is the fifth wall, and it is the one you carry inside you, into your bedroom tonight. You like to imagine that when you sleep, your brain switches off completely. It does not. A neuroscientist named Yuka Sasaki, working with Masako Tamaki at Brown University, discovered something remarkable about your very first night in an unfamiliar place. They watched people's brains as they slept somewhere new and found that one half of the brain, the left hemisphere, refused to fully let go. It stayed lighter, more alert, quicker to react to sudden sounds. It behaved almost exactly like the half-asleep brain of a dolphin, standing watch while the other half rested. They called it the first night effect. You have lived this without ever knowing its name. It is why your first night in a hotel or a friend's spare room, you sleep badly and wake at every strange creak. Your brain does not understand the concept of a hotel. It only knows you are somewhere unproven, somewhere a predator might still find you. So it quietly posts a guard. Half of you sleeps, half of you stands watch, and it does not end there. It is why a tiny, unfamiliar creak can throw you out of a dead sleep, while a loud, steady fan never wakes you at all. Your sleeping brain ignores everything safe and predictable and listens all night for the one sound that does not belong. It is why a new parent sleeps through a thunderstorm but snaps awake at the faint cry of their own baby. It is why children, with no experience of real danger, are still afraid of the dark and of what might be under the bed. That fear is not a flaw. It is a 2-million-year-old security system switching on at exactly the hour it was built to guard. It is why, even now, behind a locked door, in a city drowning in light, you can lie in the dark and suddenly feel, for no reason you can name, watched. There is no monster in your room, but the part of you that checks for one was kept alive by every ancestor who checked, and was right just often enough to survive and live to sleep another night. So tonight, when you lie down and let the darkness close over you, remember what that simple act truly is. It is not surrender. It is the most hard-won safety that has ever existed, paid for across 3 million years by the firekeepers, the light sleepers, the grandmothers who woke before dawn, and every creature out there in the dark that learned to fear your face. You will do the single most dangerous thing an animal can do, and you will wake up anyway, because somewhere deep inside you, even now, something is still standing watch.